Hi, welcome in this video where we will learn where to write code, because in the previous videos we have explained in detail how does the code get written and what's the logic. But it's actually useless if you know the logic, how to code, but you don't know where to type it so that actually it works. So that's what we're going to see in this video. Again, I think this video is a case where you should watch it and not just read the PDFs. That's what I have written there. So where should I write my lines of code so that they do something in the app for real? So that's what we're going to see. It's a bit hard to explain because you could start from so many angles, but the one I've chosen is this one. The lines of codes always go between curly braces, right? They get grouped between these curly braces that you see here. So when you write code in NetBeans, you should always make sure that you write it somewhere where there is an opening curly brace and a closing curly brace. So that you would find something like that. So you have curly braces that are written in a file, and you are able to write lines of code between. So here we create a box that specializes in containing strings, so text. Then we put "Welcome to my app" in this box, and then we create a label that makes use of this box to actually get the text of the label. And we could continue and write more code, like putting the label on a screen, for example. All of that has to be written in between curly braces. But the curly braces that you will find in NetBeans in the files are not standing alone in the file. Often there is a name given to this group of lines. So where does the name go? It's before the opening curly brace. So the role of the name is to indicate what these lines of code are, what are their use, what is their role. So in this case, if there's something we want to happen when the app starts, I think it would make sense to name this block of code, please execute this code when the app starts. Actually, in codename 1, this function, this thing exists, but they called it start. It's a bit shorter than please execute this code when the app starts. So that's basically it, right? That's where the code that you write should go. It should go between curly braces, and before the opening curly brace, you have a name given to this block of lines. But so that's the basic logic. But in practice, there's a slightly more weirdness to this name given to the block of code. There is always, not always, but I mean, you will see that there is this void term placed before the name. It just means that once the lines have been finished being executed, nothing happens. Right? Because of course you could have, instead of voice, you could have another keyword that would indicate that after that is executed something happens. But that's not for us. We don't do that in this course. And the other thing that you will always find after the name of the block of code, after the function, is these two opening and closing parentheses. Because these lines of codes could execute with a parameter, but we don't do that. It's like We just start, right? So we don't use parameters, we don't use fancy stuff. It's just execute whatever is in there and don't do anything more complicated. So now I have a tiny bad news and a very good news. So the bad news is that, you know, this name where you have void before that and then the parentheses, the empty parentheses. Actually, the name can be even more complicated because you will find many keywords around it, like before the name of the function or after that, and it gets really intimidating. Like, you know, like, look at that. Like, wow, that's not pleasant to read at all. So when you see that, or when you think you have to write that, you're like, not for me, right? It's like too much. The good news is that we don't need to do that. Basically, Codename1, so the tool we use to create apps, the persons who develop Codename1, they are the one who create this block of codes with these awful, ugly names, right? So they do that for us. What we just need to do is write stuff between the curly braces, but we don't have to, you know, to get a PhD and understand, you know, how these things get written. It's done for us. So we might just forget about all this complexity, and we write whatever we want between the curly braces. I give you two examples of what we can do. So, you know, that's a screenshot of NetBeans. Every application has this myapplication.java file. And when you double click on it, you see the content of the file there, and you will see this. It's just a function, so a block of code with an opening curly brace, closing one, a name, and the name suggests that whatever is going to be written between the curly braces is going to be done when the app starts. So if you want to say, put a label with welcome, maybe you should write it there. Or if you want, whatever, record the time when the app is opened, that's where the recording written instructions, you know, the code should be written. So here in this case, we just instruct the app to create a box specialized in receiving screen ones, to put a new screen one in the box, and to show the box, which is to show it on screen, so to show it in the app. So these 3 lines of code make sure that when the app starts, our screen one that we had created there is shown as the first screen. So I hope so this is where you write code, right? You don't write code there, or there, or there. It's really, you know, inside functions that have a name. The second example I want to give you is the one we've seen actually in module 3, I think, when we, or was it module 2? No, module 2. When we learned how to create buttons. You know, I create a button, and when I click on it, something happens. So the button is created, you go to the properties of the button, and then you click on events. It shows this. Now you click on action event, and when you click there, actually in NetBeans creates for you this very ugly function, because, you know, it's like public void whatever, but it creates these things where you just have to write between the 2 curly braces, and whatever you write is gonna happen when the user will click on the button. So here, I've just follow with me. When the button is clicked, create a box specialized in containing labels, put a label in the box with the text hello in it, This is interesting because we don't know that. But this dot add, what is this? I mean, we've never seen that. This actually designates the box that we are currently in, and we are in the file called screen1. So it means add the label to screen1 because we are currently in screen1. So that's why we say this. And finally, this repaint, it just means if you have added something to the screen, we won't see it. You need to refresh the screen or repaint it so that the label is actually visible. So you can try just writing that and you will see what happens. So these are two examples of where should the code be written. The quick answer is inside functions. Functions being blocks of code between curly braces with the name and sometimes a very complicated name in front of it. That's it. Thank you.